a lot of questions has come through. I'll read this from some students of USP. This is from them. Mr. Narube, what are your plans for the students who are studying in USP, renting in Suva, as we can't afford to pay high rent with groceries and other expenses? Even with the TELS allowance, most of the money is just spent on rent. We are left nothing to eat sometimes. What's your message to them?
I think that is a true reflection of what's happening around Fiji right now. We came out of the pandemic straight into this crisis on the cost of living. And I think we haven't handled that. The government hasn't handled that very well up to now. And I think there's a lot of people will relate to that particular student, that the cost of rent or the rent is going up, the cost of food is going up. So where's the money going to come from? You know? So that's the big issue for us. I think what the government has done is just to blame the international developments for that. I think it needs to do more. And in our manifesto, we're doing two things to address this crisis on the cost of living. First, we're putting more money into people's pockets. And second, we will reduce the cost of imported products. So let me go on the first one, putting more money into people's pockets. We are going to increase the threshold of taxes, income taxes, from $30,000 to $40,000. That means another additional people will not pay taxes. The second, we will reduce the income taxes of those paying between $40,000 and $50,000. Third, we will increase what we call the living wages, not the minimum wage, because the living wages, which is linked to poverty, will increase that to $5 an hour immediately once we get into government. Because we think that the wages are well below the basic poverty line, and we need to raise that. We're also doing away with the no jab, no job policy. I think that was too draconian, too restrictive when we were just getting out of the pandemic. There's a few others that doesn't come to mind right now. We are reimbursing withdrawals from FNPF due to COVID for salary earners up to $40,000. We are lifting the retirement age from 55 to 60. So those are the issues, I think, most of them, to put more money into people's pockets. The second is that we want to reduce the cost of imported goods, because that's what is coming. The higher inflation abroad is being brought home to Fiji because of imported goods, the cost of it. So we're going to review the border taxes for essential items that may still be imposed with taxes. The second, we will increase the list of items under price control, and that will include rent, with this question that was mentioned, that we need to have a moratorium on rent. And thirdly, we need to talk to the oil companies and look at a framework where we can ask them to also absorb some of the increase in the fuel prices coming from abroad. Because the whole issue of cost of living is, what I know, is that the burden of it is excessively on those that cannot afford it. There's nothing been done to support those people. The poor are carrying this burden of living more than anyone else. So we need to support them and need to rebalance it from those that can afford to those that cannot afford. So that's our menu for the cost of living. It needs to be addressed immediately.
The oil companies, you're saying, how will you do that for them to bear some of the cost? They will say that this is due to world oil prices.
Yeah.
How will you deal with it?
Rather than pass on all the increases in the world price, can they absorb some? the private sector. Oil is a big issue for us. The increase in oil prices permeates right throughout the economy. So why don't we explore that option? Oil, the fuel prices is under price control. And each time they want an increase in the price of fuel, they apply to the price control board for the increase in prices. There is a template that is used there to calculate the increase in prices.
So you'll review that template?
We will going to review that template with the consultations with the oil company.
Who will you be ready to work with?
Yeah, I've said that Unity Fiji has made that quite clear already, at least for the last 6 months. I came into politics basically because I thought this government needs to go. They needs to be taken out of power. And that means, and I have said that if there's no government that wins government, no political party that wins government, we're quite ready to form a coalition amongst the opposition parties. But we will not form a coalition with Fiji First.
So everyone except Fiji First?
Everyone except Fiji First.
So you can work with People's Alliance?
Yes.
Labour, NFP?
Anyone.
Anyone.